Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Prab. If you are planning to apply for Australian permanent residency, you have probably heard of VITASIS. This is the crucial step in the PR journey for many of us, especially if you're aiming for a 190, 491 or 189 visa. Today, I'm going to guide you through the entire VITASIS skill assessment process, covering everything from their requirement, fee structure, processing time, eligibility, and necessary document. Even if you are not applying for PR or the skill assessment today or anytime soon, I still highly recommend you watching this video. It will help you get ready and prepared for when you do apply. During my own process, I wished someone had told me about the specific documents and experience needed. Yesterday, I was going through my notebooks and stumbled upon my VITASIS notes. I thought, why not make a video on this topic? I remembered how stressful the whole PR process was, including this application, which is basically your ticket to PR. Excited to share that these notes not only helped me but my friends and colleagues with their applications, and all of us got positive outcomes. I also consulted with agents but didn't feel comfortable doing my application through them. A friend suggested someone who got her PR 190 visa through Health Promotion Experience. Despite agent advising me to switch courses, she encouraged me to do it myself. She kindly agreed to review my application, and when I looked at my notebook yesterday, I thought this video might help someone or answer their questions about their application. First thing first, if you are wondering who your skill assessing body is, don't worry, we can find that out in less than a minute. Let's jump onto the internet and type Department of Home Affairs. Here you can see the skill occupation list, or you can directly type online skill occupation list and you can find this page. On this page, you will see different visa lists. Scroll a bit and in the search box, type your qualification or job title. For this video, I will use health promotion as an example. When you type health promotion, you will see the NZICO code for this occupation, which is 251911. You can apply for various visas like 190, 407, 489 and many more. And the assessing authority is VITASIS. Now you might be thinking, what do NZICO code, STSOL and VITASIS even mean? Honestly, I didn't remember what they all stood for either, so I looked them up online. NZICO code stands for the Australian and New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupation. In this case, our code is 251911. The NZICO provides information on the skill level of job, qualification and or experience needed to work in occupations. So we need to remember that in the case of Health Promotion Officer, our code is 251911. Now, STSOL stands for the Short-Term Skilled Occupation List, which means our occupation is listed in this category. Now coming on to VITASIS, which stands for Vocational Education and Training Assessment Services. It is one of the key skill assessment body in Australia, which is responsible for assessing your qualification and work experience against Australian standards. This is a mandatory step for many occupations on the medium and long-term strategic skill list or the short-term skill occupation. Now that we know our occupation, we can go to the VITASIS website. You can go directly from here by clicking the link or typing it online on the VITASIS page. You can also check whether your occupation can be assessed through VITASIS or not. At the top, you will see different options like skill assessment for migration, skill assessment non-migration, check my occupation, business and industry, contact, and the important one, start your application. So note that VITASIS does the skill assessment for professional and general occupation as well as for the tradespeople. In this video, we will be doing a skill assessment for professional and general occupation. As you can see, it includes 4 steps. First one is find, the second one is match, the third one is prepare and apply. Here we will do the first 3 steps and the final step next week. As I said, you can find out here as well as whether VITASIS is your assessing body. However, we already did, but I'm still curious, so I'll type Health Promotion Officer here, and that's great. Here you can see the description of the role. Health Promotion Officer assist health and community groups to improve the health of individuals and the community by raising awareness of healthy lifestyles, disease and disability and other health related issues. This description is very important because we will use keywords from here when drafting our statement of service. I'll talk more about statement of service later in the video. Now let's click on learn more. This is the same description we read before. In today's video, as I mentioned earlier, we will understand the assessment process, fee structure, required documents and processing time, and do the application process next week. Let's start with the fees and charges. Here you can see the full skill assessment fee for both qualification and employment, whether Australian or overseas. If you are applying from within Australia, including GST, it will cost you Australian $1,136.30. And if you are applying from overseas, it will cost you $1,033. And if you want to process your application with priority, it will cost you additional 886.60 Australian dollar within Australia, which bringing the total to around 2,222.90. And for overseas priority processing, you will pay an extra $806, making the total to 1,813. As you can see, there are different fee structures, but they are not relevant to the purpose of this video. So if you are interested in learning more about other fees, please feel free to explore them on your own time. Now, how you can make a payment? So they have provided two payment options. They also mentioned that payment must be payable to Vitasis. It should be in Australian dollars and paid and clear 7 days prior to your assessment. And you will be able to complete payment using any one of the following methods, which they have mentioned above, that you can pay it through two methods, which is MasterCard or Visa. And if you want to know more about their refund policy, you can click here. That's all about the fee structure and payment method. This time we will understand the assessment process. This page is quite generic and gives an overview of what Vitasis does and the different steps involved in the application process. The first step in this process is to nominate your occupation, which we already did, which is Health Promotion Officer. If you are applying for another occupation and want to learn more about it, please click this link and check the qualification and employment requirements for your occupation. Next, we will check the occupation description. This is very important because, as I mentioned earlier, we want to ensure that our position description, roles and responsibility match the occupation description on the Vitasis website. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes, but first let's check the processing time. Regarding processing time, it is usually take about 8 to 10 weeks from the date your document are submitted. However, it can take longer during peak time, so it is crucial to plan ahead. For priority processing, it takes 10 business days after an application is confirmed as eligible for priority processing. And priority processing is available for professional and general occupation, but this service is not offered for trade occupations. Now that we have learned about the fee and processing time, let's talk about the occupation description and the relevant documents needed during the application. Let's go back to the occupation page and read the description carefully. The alternatives titles for this role are community health worker, health educator, and suitable occupations under this NZICO code include asthma educator, diabetes educator, and childbirth educator. However, occupations like health diagnostic, health promotion professional, NEC, genetic counselor, and orthotist and prosthetist, they are not considered suitable under this code as they are classified elsewhere in NZICO or are not at the required skill level. Additionally, your qualification must be equivalent to the Australian Qualification Framework, which is AQF, Australian Qualification Framework level required for your occupation. To qualify, you need a bachelor degree equivalent to an Australian bachelor or higher in relevant field, plus at least 1 year of relevant post-qualification work experience within the last 5 years. They mentioned you wouldn't meet the required skill level if your qualification aren't at the required education level or aren't in a highly relevant field or your work experience was completed before finishing your qualification. Both your qualification and employment must be positively assessed for a successful skill assessment outcome. As you can see here in this picture, 1 year of post-qualification paid employment, 20 hours or more per week, highly relevant to the nominated occupation at an appropriate skill level in the last 5 years before the date of the application for a skill assessment. This is very important because some agents might tell you that if you do 2 to 3 part-time jobs totaling 20 hours, Vitasis will consider that experience, and this happened to me. I trusted this advice and didn't do anything about it, and I was actually working 15 hours a week in my first job as a health promotion officer for a year, but Vitasis did not consider this experience. However, luckily working on a part-time job for 24 hours a week, which I started 3 months later after my first job. So do not listen to anyone without verifying the information. Always check the official website or contact the assessment body directly. When they say 20 hours, it means 20 hours in one job and not combined from, all the different jobs. I mean, you can do different jobs, like 2 different jobs of 20 hours and 20 hours, and you can do them on different time period, but they need to be of 20 hours. Moving on to the qualification and employment criteria, we'll talk about this in detail now. As I mentioned earlier, you need an AQF bachelor degree or higher. This could include your qualification assessed at AQF bachelor, master, and doctoral level. A major in medicine or health science may be considered on a case-by-case basis depending on the subjects undertaken and the relevance of the post-qualification employment. So relevant subjects include public health, health policy, environmental health, health data science, social health, cultural health policies, Epidemiology, health education and promotion. Highly relevant major fields of study include health promotion and public health. Employment highly relevant task includes, but they are not limited to this below list. Please read them carefully. In this section, they talk about where health promotion officer usually works. So generally, health promotion officer assist health and community groups to improve the health of individuals and the community. They are often employed in the local level, state and federal government, and they also work for not-for-profit organizations, health agencies, community service institutes, and they can also work at universities as well. Specific role might include, I think we have already talked about this one, like asthma educator, diabetes educator, childbirth educator. And also note that these roles can have different titles as well. When I applied, my job titles were health promotion officer, community engagement worker, public health officer. It can be any title, but the most important thing is your roles and responsibility matching the occupation description. When I applied, we didn't have much information about the occupation description. It was just one paragraph. Now they have described it so nicely. So I highly advise you to read every word of this occupation description page when completing your assessment. You can also download this information sheet. You can print it out and read it carefully. In this section, they mention when applying for a skill assessment, ensure you submit sufficient evidence supporting your proof of identity, qualification, and employment claims. A full list is provided under the eligibility criteria. So before we wrap up this video, we will quickly look at what supporting documents are needed so you're ready when we fill out the application together next week. You need to provide various documents, which includes your updated resume or CV. If applying for like a formal skill assessment, they mention you must include your CV, and this will actually give you an opportunity to describe your employment career history in your own words. And the second one is photograph. One recent passport size color photograph is required. Photograph must be no more than 6 months old and of good quality, and also not accept self-taken photographs are not acceptable. Now, proof of identity. There are two types of it, which are primary documents and secondary documents. As proof of your identity, you must provide at least 3 identity documents. You may provide 2 documents from the primary documents and 1 document from the secondary documents, or you may provide 1 document from the primary documents and the 2 documents from the secondary documents. Either way, you must provide at least 1 primary document, and primary documents can be your passport, bio page, and the birth certificate. Acceptable secondary documents may include, they have provided this list, but they are not limited to this list below. I provided secondary documents, my driver license and Australian visa. Please ensure that at least one of your ID documents contain a photo of you, and at least one of your ID documents contain your full name and date of birth. They mention that you must also read and sign the declaration on the application form to affirm that the information you have provided is true and correct, and to acknowledge that you understand how your personal information will be handled by Vitasis. So read the declaration form carefully. If you have nominated an agent, representative or lawyer to act on your behalf, their name, signature and date of signing must also be included on your signed declaration form. Moving on to the fourth one, which is the change of name. If it is applicable to you, you need to provide the evidence of the name change to address any naming inconsistencies in the document supporting your identity. Qualification evidence. This can be an award certificate or academic transcript. Please note you must have successfully completed your qualification before applying for a skill assessment. And additional note for qualification obtained from specific regions for the world includes People's Republic of China, Europe, Philippines, and Lebanon. Please read this information carefully if this is relevant to you. Now, they also ask you for the employment evidence, and it is important that you provide them with the required employment evidence for each employment position listed in your formal skills assessment application. As part of determining your eligibility for priority processing, determine if your employment claims can be verified within 10 business days. As part of the application, you also need to complete the statement of service. You can click this link, you will find the template for the statement of service. So what is a statement of service? A statement of service is a written statement by your employer confirming your employment on official letterhead. Official letterheads should include the organization's full address, details, telephone, email, and website addresses. The intent of the letter must be signed by your direct supervisor or the manager of the human resources department. So what I did during my time is that I wrote the entire statement of service for all employments, and then I'll send it to my particular employers to sign it. So I would highly recommend to complete it and send it over to them for their signatures. Now moving on to the statement. What statement of service should include? So they mention it should include the issue date for the statement of service, the company letterhead, your full name, the working hours per week, your official position titles held at the organization, the exact start and end date of your employment in each position held, list of your main duties of each position held, the salary you have earned in that organization, your full name, position title, official contact details, and signature of the person writing the statement of service. Mention that the references from colleagues at the same level or below will not be accepted. Please note that they might contact you or referees for further information. Use this template as an employment reference letter and change it according to your job position description. Also note that if you did an health promotion officer job for 6 months, you need an employment reference letter from your employer for the health promotion officer job, and if you did like a project officer, public health officer job for 6 months, you need a separate employment letter for that role. Make sure all documents are certified and translated into English. If they are in another language, make sure to take the appropriate steps. Incomplete or incorrect documents can delay your assessment, so double check everything before submission. The final step in this section for us is payment evidence. So the payment evidence in this case is the evidence of your employment, which could include at least 2 pay slips, ideally your first and last pay slip if you are no longer working on that role, your taxation records that show payment summarizes and which have the company name and your name, bank statements showing at least 2 salary payments, your name and the employer's name, employment linked insurance superannuation records. Provide any one of them. On this page, you can see there are a couple of other things like self-employed, organization chart. If you're nominating a managerial occupation or one of the following occupation, here you need to provide the organizational chart. Similarly for other sections like evidence of research. However, we do not need this information for this video, so if this is relevant to you, please read this carefully and do your due diligence. If needed, supplying a statutory declaration or affidavit. If you can't provide certain official documents, you can submit a statutory declaration. However, alone isn't enough for assessment, but TASIS asks you to provide official employment documents like tax records, contracts, and job descriptions. The statutory declaration or equivalent legal document must be properly executed by the appropriate legal professionals in the country of origin, and you may need to seek appropriate legal advice as to how this is carried out in the country of your current residence. You can find a template here for statutory declaration or affidavit template. Find the list of persons who may witness statutory declarations. Once you have submitted all the relevant information, the last thing is to pay. One thing I forgot to mention, at the top of the VITASIS website, you can find their contact details. Their team can also support you with the skill assessment process, but please note that they do charge a fee for their services. You can learn more about their services on this page, skill assessment support. To recap, here are the key points we covered in today's video. The first thing we did was we understood what VITASIS is, like we did fees and charges. The fee for a full skill assessment may vary depending on whether you're applying for within Australia or overseas, and priority processing is available at an additional cost. And then we talk about the payment method, that payments can be made via MasterCard or Visa and must be clear 7 days prior to your assessment. We also talk about the processing time. The standard processing time is about 8 to 10 weeks with priority processing available for professionals and general occupations. And we discussed about occupation description. Ensure your position description, roles and responsibilities match the occupation description on the VITASIS website. Also talk about the required documents, your application, which includes your updated resume or CV, recent passport size photograph, proof of identity, which includes your both primary and secondary documents, evidence of name change if applicable, qualification evidence, award certificate or academic transcript. Also talk about the employment evidence. Also touch base on the statutory declaration or affidavit. If you can't provide certain official documents, you can submit a statutory declaration along with other official employment documents. Final step is make sure all documents are certified and translated into English if they are in another language. Double check everything before submission to avoid delays. Before for our next video, I have a task for you. Go through the Vatasis website carefully and read about everything we discussed today. This will help you be fully prepared for when we fill out the application form together next week. Also create a separate folder where you can keep all these documents in one place. This will make the process much smoother and ensure you have everything ready when you need it. That's all for today's video. I hope this video has helped you understand the Vatasis skill assessment process and what you need to do to get started. Remember, this is a crucial step in your Australian PR journey, so make sure you are fully prepared before applying. In our next video, we will dive deeper into the application process with a detailed step-by-step tutorial. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss it. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.